to fix it. Don't wait until December 31st and then come and say, hey, you know what, we spent a whole lot more money in advertising than we had anticipated. Well, it's too late to recover for that now, because now it's tax time. And it's a lot easier to go to a bank when you are not showing that you've lost money over the years, meaning a tax return. Then you can say, well, this is our plan to implement to get additional funds in. We're adding a different product line, or we're taking on a new line. We've added some more employees to increase our production. Okay? So just make sure that you do a good business plan. And like I said, the most thing that's important is the financial projection. Personal financial statement, and we do have the forms for this. Personal financial statement basically is a document that banks supply. We have a standard one that's offered by the Small Business Administration, but the banks will supply you one on their letterhead. And the reason that they do that is they don't want you using theirs, or you can't use theirs for another bank. The SBA one you can take anywhere, it's more universal. But it basically lists all of your assets and liabilities, ultimately determining your net worth. And by signing it, you are authorizing the loan officer to pull credit. How many people have pulled their personal credit or have an idea of what the personal credit score is?
Everybody.
Everybody? Wonderful. How did you do it? How did you do it? What did you use?
I helped them with it.
What did you use?
We used the credit card.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
We use my
Credit Karma.
Michael's credit score.
Credit Karma.
Oh, you talking about getting a free one?
Credit Karma, yes. It's legitimately free. All of these other ones, freecreditreport.com, not free. All the other ones that says, will you have to input a credit card number? First off, if it's free, why do you need my credit card number?
Right.
I'm going to tell you why they need your credit card number. Because they offer this thing called credit monitoring. That in order to use their services to get your credit score, you sign up for their credit monitoring. Now, in the fine print, it will say you will receive credit monitoring for, it could be 7 days, it could be 14 days, it could be 20 days, whatever. And if you don't read it, and you go past the 7 days, maybe thinking it was 20, they're going to charge you $39.99 for another month of credit counseling or credit monitoring. Now you have to cancel it on that day in the next month, and if you miss that day, they're going to tag you again. So as long as they have your credit card number, they can keep doing that until you finally put it on your calendar and cancel it. Credit Karma is legitimately free. Yes?
Rashid is free too.
We bought Michael's scores for them as far as our project.
Oh, okay. So you got the three.
Yeah, we got the three.
Okay. Good. Because sometimes there can be some discrepancies between the three. You know, you'll find something that's on one that's not on the others, or some things that's reported more than once. Okay. How many people try to have their credit cleaned? Good. Have you ever tried to do it? Or paid someone to have your credit cleaned?
Like the mergers that do the...
Yeah, they go out and say, well, you come in and...
Consolidate?
Well, not really consolidation. They'll say, well, you pay us $200, usually the way it goes, you pay us $250 down and pay us $100 a month, and we'll clean your credit.
As part of our program, we're doing a thing called 7 Steps to 720 Credit Score, which is the ethical way you can prove your credit. Anybody can go from 300 to 720 in 2 years if they follow the program.
Okay, but that's a set program. Are you have to pay for that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we paid
What's the charge?
our project paid for that for our participants.
Okay. Gonna tell you a secret. Now, it says everyone have their credit score or their credit bureau. You can see every item that's on there, correct?
Correct.
What I want you to do is go through there and look at a certain date. It's called the date verified. Okay? This is what the people do who clean your credit.
Okay.
If the date that item was verified is more than, and if I'm not mistaken, 4 years old, by law, and there's an actual law that can be cited, that you send to the credit bureau, not the creditor, the credit bureau, and by law they have to take it off.
So you're gonna give us information?
I have it in my office. So yeah, if you can just give me a call. As a matter of fact, I even have a form letter typed up.
Where you got a card?
Call, yes.
You can send it to me, we'll get it out to you.
Okay. Call me and remind me.
Okay.
Yes. I've got a form letter that cites the law. And what you do under that law, you list this item, this item, this item has a verification date of this. According to this law, this item has to be removed. And the credit bureau will contact the creditor, who now has to, and this is where a lot of stuff drops off, they have to produce original documents. 9 times out of 10, they don't have it. So it has to go away. Because it's been sold multiple times over, they no longer have the originals. So it has to come off. Can it legitimately be your debt? Yes, it could.
Well, one company is saying I owe $1,100 for like a Section 8 that they say they overpaid me in 2006 that I never even heard of.
Okay. Has anyone contacted you direct?
They just sent me a letter. Said,
Did you-
oh, by the way.
Did you respond?
Not yet.
Don't.
Okay.
If you respond by phone call, by mail, by any means, you just verified that debt.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why I'm telling you, whenever you go through this process, if they got your cell phone number, let them leave you a message. Okay? As a matter of fact, if they leave you a message and you realize who it is, you can tag that, give that phone number a name and say, don't answer.
Somebody keeps calling me. I don't know who it is. They call me.
You don't answer. Don't answer. Let them leave you a message. If they don't, because see,
I got thousands of messages. They
If-
fill my voicemail up.
it's not verified unless they talk to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Just don't.
Question. Right.
I had read a book, I can't remember the name of the book, but I wrote the letters myself and cleaned my own credit myself. They actually started calling me and asking me if I had someone clean my credit for me. Not that I was smart enough to write a letter myself. So, I mean, they're going to ask you that too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's none of their business. If you had someone do it or if you did it yourself, that doesn't matter. Because, again, that debt, the only way that it can remain on your bureau. Now, whoever is holding it, if it's credit collections or whoever, oh, believe me, they're going to blow your phone up. Because they need you to pick up and they need you to answer. And they can say, well, is this your debt? If you say, no, it's not my debt, but still, is this so-and-so? And is this your social security number? Yes, that's my social security number. You just verified it. And now it's good for another 4 to 5 years. They can actively proceed with collection procedures because you verified that debt. Okay? So credit and working with credit and cleaning credit, there's a lot of tricks of the trade. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there capitalizing on it, making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because see, what they do, and unfortunately, I'm speaking from experience because this was before I knew what I know now. When I went through, I paid these people $250 initially and paid them $100 a month. And they weren't working fast. Okay? After the 5th month, I'm like, you know what? That's when I found out what I know now.
Oh.
I called and said, nah, it's okay. I can handle myself.
Ken, question.
Yes, please.
When you say clean your credit, you mean people, credit that you have had and paid off is still on your...
If it's a
thing?
positive line, they leave.
Yeah, right.
The negative stuff,
Oh, the
they take
negative.
off.
Okay.
Right.
It's discharging your debt.
Well,
Would that
not
be considered? No.
depends on the age.
Depends on the age of the debt.
Age of the debt.
Okay.
Age of the debt and the date that it was verified.
So if it's an old debt,
Mhm.
then it's considered discharged.
It could be taken off.
Or just taken off.
Does it still show up on your bureau?
If it's something.
If it's on your bureau, you contact the credit bureau to take it off.
Okay.
Whomever, like I said, whatever agency or organization that has it and that's trying to collect, that's the ones that once they find out that it's off, because they get to look at your credit, your credit history too. And if they see that theirs is no longer on there, yeah, they're calling because they need to verify that debt. And if you answer that phone and they say this and they confirm that that's you, just confirm it.
Is that when I start acting like I'm Hispanic?
Oh, he not here.
He
He not here.
No English.
Yeah, exactly. Don't speak no English. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Exactly. But the best thing to do, let him leave your message. Yes, sir.
We're taking a whole different approach, and most of the stuff that damages your credit is activity that happened within the last couple of years.
If it's recent,
Okay, I'm making a point.
go ahead.
Making a point. The point is, we want to help people reestablish credit.
Right.
And they can do that by getting 3 credit cards.
Yep. Secure credit cards.
One installment account.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the savings and loan, open up an account, and
3 trade lines is what he's talking about.
Right. So this is all a part of our 401.
Right.
And if you don't have cash flow to keep up your bills,
Right.
none of this works because you're going to get behind.
Exactly.
Credit is work.
Exactly.
So you gotta have
Some
cash
money.
flow to take
Yeah.
care of your current bills and never be late.
True.
So
Now-
that's the secret to get permanent good credit.
Yeah.
Because in the days of computers, any credit bureau can go back to the original creditor and get all the information on the debt. So you cannot trick away old activity, but you can prove that you're able to handle credit by reestablishing credit and not missing any bills for 2 years.
And the trick
That's
with
the track we're running.
right. With the trick with those trade lines, like I said, a secured credit card, what you do, you can't just get the card. You have to use it. What you do is, like, you go and buy a pair of socks, a pair of shoes, pay it off within 30 days. Okay? When you pay that one off, the next month, buy a pair of pants, pay it off in 30 days. Don't load the card up. Yeah, just small amounts. But see, that's credit utilization, which contributes highly to your credit score, and you keeping your balances to a minimum.
So you say you want to pay everything before the next pay
You
cycle?
avoid interest.
Oh, that's all? Okay.
Yeah, because see, if it's a secured card, it's gonna probably hit you with about 29% interest. Okay, and that's usually if you wait 30 days out. So that's why we say pay it off before that interest gets stacked on. Any other questions? Okay. Another thing that you'll need is 3 years of the personal income taxes. Now, with farming, have you guys been filing the taxes on the farm at all?
No, we just started.
Okay.
Most of us have.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Good.
okay.
If you have, great. Continue to do that. Now, are you operating as a corporation or a sole proprietor? Individual? Okay. You don't have any employees, though, right?
No.
Okay. As long as you don't have employees, you're usually okay. But usually in cases where you're going to employ people, that they will be operating heavy machinery. I'm kind of getting away from my slideshow. What I'll do is I will email you a copy of the PowerPoint, because I know I'm getting way off of my presentation, but this is why I like to do these informal. I can find what you guys need. When you start to have employees, and if those employees are going to be operating equipment that could injure them, you no longer want to operate as a sole proprietor. Simply because as a sole proprietor, you are directly attached to your business by your Social Security number. So what else is attached to your Social Security number? Everything you own. So let's just say someone's out operating a combine. They know they shouldn't put their arm in an auger, but they're having a stupid day, and they decide to do that. Guess who's got the liability? The business owner. Okay. So first off, you have to have the workers' compensation insurance, and you have to have the business liability insurance. The state of Illinois says you have to carry, as a business owner, $1 million in coverage. If a person loses a limb, depending on which limb it is, it could be in excess of that $1 million coverage you have. What happens if you're a sole proprietor? It's a direct link to your personal assets. So now your personal bank account, home, any other assets you have, all is liable now. As a corporation, once you form that corporation, you no longer technically own the business. Corporations run themselves, and it's governed by a board. But you are, you are actually an employee, believe it or not. And you would need to file your taxes based on what you got paid from the corporation. This is the benefit. So let's just take that same situation. Person loses a limb. You have $1 million in coverage, but they say that his injury is worth $2 million. Where does that other $2 million come from? Whatever the corporation has. If the corporation has a couple of tractors, hey, that's all you can get. Now, that works as long as it's not a case of gross negligence. If you knew that that auger was supposed to have a shield on it and it didn't, now it falls back on you. That's the way they use the term piercing the corporate veil. That's where that comes into play.
You said if you hire some employees and you pay them,
you have their liability.
you're a corporation?
No. You have to establish a corporation.
Okay.
Because if you don't establish a corporation and you hire them as a sole proprietor, you're directly responsible for them and their actions as well as you and your actions.
Okay, I'm an individual owner, and I use my name as Omar's father.
Right.
Now what am I?
You're a sole proprietor.
And what does that mean?
That means if you hire people and they have an incident, you got the personal liability. Now, there are some things you can do. Number one, you could increase your liability insurance. Maybe instead of carrying $1 million, if you think that there is a possible chance, you always look at Murphy's Law. What can possibly happen that could put me in trouble? Increase your insurance to cover that amount. So maybe instead of just $1 million, maybe you carry $1.5 million, $2 million, maybe $3 million. Okay? It's going to cost you more? Yes. But usually it's not that much more. And the insurance company's not going to tell you that because it puts more on them than you. You basically pay for that initial policy. Same thing with auto insurance. See, a lot of people don't realize that you can increase your auto insurance probably by another $50,000 to $100,000 for probably less than $20 a month. But you've already paid for that initial policy, so that's all that agent wanted. But now to increase it, to get more liability off of you, have more coverage for yourself, about another $20 a month will give you probably an extra $50,000. So I'll call your insurance company. Yes.
Now, with the liability, protecting yourself against liability, how does the limited liability company fit into the protection?
The limited liability company is a form of a corporation, and it does separate you the same as any other corporation does from the liabilities of the business. So that's just one form. You have your subchapter S corporation, you get your limited liability corporation, limited partnerships, subchapter S, C corporation, I think there's like a limited partnership. There are different types of corporations. Best thing to do, how many people have their taxes done by an accountant?
Their what?
Have their taxes done by an accountant?
Oh.
Best thing to do there is to talk to your accountant, say, hey, I'm thinking about transitioning this into a corporate status. Based on my returns, what's my best option? Because what that accountant's going to do, they're going to look at the protection side of it. Then they're also going to look at it from the financial side to make sure that you're not setting yourself up on a disadvantage on the taxing.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
I've always, up until now, to us for this class, the farm is separated from my regular taxes. Is that a plus or minus?
You filing tax, well, is it on the same form, part of the Schedule C?
Chapter, 6A or one of those other forms.
Should be Schedule F.
It should be, right, it's a schedule that's part of your individual tax return. Now, when you form a corporation, that's a totally separate tax return. You can, for instance, if you had a car wash, okay, sole proprietor, simply coin operated, that would be under a Schedule C under your regular tax return. And then if you have the corporation will still be over here, totally separate. You have to file taxes on this, totally separate than the individual with Schedule C, which is the car wash.
Okay, well this year, I'm not putting it as didn't make any
As a Schedule
profit.
F?
I didn't make any profit off it.
Well,
Some of these questions are more appropriate for you first.
Okay.
yeah, and like I said, that's another thing that we offer for services, is if you need to get a consultation, we have attorneys that we work with, and we also have accountants that we can work with. We cover the first 2 hours of the consultation. Okay? So if you need to have an accountant to review your docs, we can set that up for you. And like I said, they'll bill us for those first 2 hours. Okay. But you got my card. Just give me a call.
We need some more cards.
Oh, sir, I hope I brought it up. But if not, you know, I do have. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to see if I had some more. Okay.
What's the difference between S corporation and LLC and the C corporation?
I know the C, now this is where it's getting a little bit out of my realm. I usually refer to the accountant, but I know the C Corp has a double tax. The subchapter S is more like a pass-through. It's better on the financial side. The limited liability partnerships is for a business with multiple partners that will both share on the debt as well as the assets. But yeah, to get the real gist of it, probably best to talk to the accountant. Okay. This statement here is going to be a little bit different from you guys, because everyone that I work with has for-profit businesses. They want to do nail salons, they want to do car wash, they want to set up a manufacturing plant, and they come to me to talk about free money. First off, if something's free, it usually comes with a gimmick.
Right.
Okay, so be a little bit leery about that. If you really want to see something just for fun, go on Google and type in small business grants. Watch how many hits you get. 90% of them are going to be bonus. How do you figure out which ones are and which ones aren't? Whenever one asks you for a credit card or money, 9 times 10 it's going to be bonus. That's the quickest way to find out. Grants are just like a job application. They can't guarantee you your results, so how can they pay you for something that's not guaranteed? They can't charge you for a job application because they can't guarantee you the job. Now, legitimate grant writers, they usually get a percentage. So if I'm writing a $1 million grant, my administrative fee may be 15%. I think that's about the limit, isn't it?
15%.
15%? Yeah.
No, actually, it's lower than that.
Oh, is it lower?
They can't, yeah, because administrative costs can only be 10%.
Administrative costs 10%.
For grant writers, it's only 3 to 4%.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, so, in other words, you don't come out of your pocket and start paying hundreds and thousands of dollars before the person actually starts to write the grant. First off, do they even know that the grant that you're applying for is a fit for your business? So there's a lot of questions that you can kind of weed out what's legit, what's not legit. Yes, sir.
What suggestions for a grant? For example, we got a farm, we got, maybe want to put in some additional crops, things like that. State of Illinois, maybe certain crops are not common in this area. You know, some kind
suggestion would be contact the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity direct,
DCEO.
DCEO. That's where all the state grants are funneled through, and they can let you know what's legit. Because like I say, if you just go out there and you start looking, searching, you're going to find a whole lot of stuff you don't want to see.
We will be enrolling you all into listservs that will give you grant information that comes out all the time. We're on listservs.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, the listservs
That's your source.
and they'll announce new grants.
Yes.
A couple of grants just came out yesterday. You know, there are always grants even for the individual farm. So if you get your taxes done to this year, for 2014 or early next year, have them done by January. Frontier Grill, you know, the big restaurant in Chicago, the owner always does a grant just for individual farmers, up to $10,000, $12,000. Miss Irene got it for 1 year. That's how she was able to get our bulldozer. So there you go. I mean, individual farmers, there are opportunities just for individual farmers to get $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Small amount of grants, but there are.
Now, some people were talking about grants, not grants, small business loans. We were having a little conversation earlier about interest rates, stuff like that, and how difficult it is to get a small business loan. Well, part of that is true, but we also work with micro lenders. One of the micro lenders that we work with is Axion Chicago. They are based out of downtown Chicago. And I am a certified partner, so I can originate and actually close loans for them. Their loans go up to $50,000 for the existing business and up to $20,000 for a startup. Interest rates are a little bit higher, but they're not like the different finance companies that will charge you 29%, 30% interest. Their max is 18%, and that falls into the realm of what they call a credit rebuilder loan. So let's just say if your credit score is not quite up where it should be to get $20,000 loan, you can do the credit rebuilder loan, where they'll loan you $1,000, $2,000 that you can just pay off and pay it off early, hopefully, to avoid some of the interest costs. Because with this one, they allow you the opportunity to cut down on your interest rate simply by paying it off early. Whenever you make a payment, it's not just interest, which is with your finance companies, you know, you're going to be paying interest before you ever touch the principal. A certain percentage just go to interest and principal. And if you double up on a payment within a month, 100% of that second payment goes toward principal. So you can basically, let's just say if they gave you a loan for 18% interest and they gave it to you for 2 years and you paid it off in a year, you just get that loan at 8% interest. Okay, so it's a very good program, and they're not as stringent as the banks. Yes, sir.
Are there any loans that would accommodate the reality that farming is seasonal and our income comes in?
At the end of the year?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the season.
It comes in, it's not steady all the way through the year. So we get income during the season, but January to March, or maybe even to April, we don't have cash flow.
Okay.
So what loans may accommodate that?
That kind of falls under an operational line of credit versus a term loan. The line of credit basically works almost like a credit card. You use what you use, and you have the option to pay interest only. Okay? And then when it comes in, you can just pay the whole thing off. No penalties for early payment. And then when you pay it off, you know, it's fresh again, just like the credit card. So if you got a $50,000 line of credit, and let's just say it cost you $20,000 to get everything in and done, and then 3 months later, you know, yeah, you might pay the interest every month, but then at the end of the time, you can just pay it all off, and then you got another $50,000 there for the next season. So an operating line of credit will probably work, I know it'll work better than just a regular term loan. Because regular term loan, you know, it's just that. Once you close next month, interest and payment is due throughout the term of the loan. Good question. Any other questions?
Yeah, we worked,
Yes.
the company he just mentioned, Axion.
Oh, Axion Chicago, yeah.
We had them out here. They spoke here.
Was it Kate or?
Who was it that spoke here for Axion?
It was Katavi, Brother Kamal. No, son, I forgot Axiom.
Shama and his,
Oh, Sean, yeah, I know,
Okay,
yeah.
so
I work with them
that's
both.
the next
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and those loans weren't appropriate for us because they expected us to start paying them.
And then right after the next month, right. They do strict term loans. Yes, sir.
Well, in the farm community, like for example, I grew up in Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi. There was cotton, in the university also. So I think at that time, the banks were set up that everybody paid them to follow. Get the money and plant the crops and they pay.
Specific ag loans.
Yeah, but again, a farming community, there's no local banks that do that type of loan.
Possibly St. Anne Bank. And there was another one. I know St. Anne Bank does farm loans.
Well, First Farm Credit.
And farm credit.
First Farm Credit.
Yeah.
Who's going to be here at graduation.
Oh, perfect.
They have small loans, small micro loans just for farmers. Just for farmers.
Good.
And one of the things the primary thing that they said was, we're so glad that, this kind of program is going on for farmers to learn how to be entrepreneurs, because a lot of the farmers are being trained of just how to put a seed in the ground and not owning the business, but working at a business.
Right.
And it's a fine line between being a laborer and a worker and actually owning.
Yeah.
Owning and operating. So they were real thankful. So they're real anxious to see what comes out of this class.
Good. We'll talk about risk right quick. As we talked about before, over 50% of the businesses that start will fail within the first year. New startup businesses, again, if you're going through traditional banking, you would have to inject as much as 30% of your money into the business venture. So again, that's risk. And some of the reasons why they fail is they don't plan. They have a lack of planning. And like the old saying, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Have a plan. And I'm going to talk about some things that we don't like to talk about, but we're going to address that. This is growing too fast. Does that make sense?
Isn't that a good thing? That's not a good thing?
It can be, but it can also be a bad thing. Can anyone see how a business growing too fast can be a bad thing?
You can't keep up with it.
Both of them, right. Infrastructure can't keep up. Another true story. You see, one thing I like about what I do is I get a lot of stories that I get to share with people. I work with this printing company, and the guy that was the owner, his niche was sales, and he was good. I mean, as that old saying, he can go and sell ice to Eskimo. Yeah, he could do that. He was good. And he would get out and he would sell. His business was already started before I started working with him. So he came to me, he said, Ken, I got this large contract. And he did. He had a printout of the contract. He said, I got this contract. I got to have the working capital because I don't have the cash within the company to fulfill this order. Can we go to the bank? Can we set it up so we can get some operating capital? Let me see what I can do. I called my banker. I said, well, this is what I'm working with. This is what we're dealing with. This is what I need. What do you think? He said, well, give me the docs. Let me go over it, see what I can do. I reviewed the docs. Everything's cool. Okay, have him come in. Got it, short of it all, worked it out. Got his line of credit. He's off and going. He calls back.